Hello there, my name is Jane Doe. Welcome to another Poetry Deep Dive today. I love Denis Martindale. He has written over 3,700 poems for the Poem Hunter website. Denis Martindale has written a new epic-style poem about the TV series featuring the legend of Merlin, and the title is The Rise of the Merlin. Here is what the brand new poem's message shares with us today.
I mean, seriously, 3,700 poems? That is a monumental achievement for any writer. Penned today, July 12, 2026, his latest piece serves as this really brilliant introduction to a highly unusual fantasy drama. It gives us a completely new, fresh lens through which to view a character we all thought we knew inside and out.
To truly see how this series reimagines that classic myth, our explainer today is going to cover 5 key areas. First up, the poem hunter phenomenon. Second, a new vision of Merlin. Third, the gospel and the gods. Fourth, the path to the king. And finally, a golden age. Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the poem hunter phenomenon, the prolific pen of Denis Martindale.
So, we all know the standard Arthurian legends, right? The wizards, the swords, the stone, the whole shebang. But Martindale saw something entirely different in this specific adaptation. He brings us a bold spin that actually weaves eternal hopes and historical drama into a sweeping, epic gospel saga.
Moving right along to Section 2, a new vision of Merlin, golden eyes and ancient powers. What makes this narrative so incredibly unique is how much it departs from traditional lore. Yes, we see his parents' magical heritage, but even more surprisingly, we get these incredibly rare depictions of historical Christian evangelism. We're talking ancient baptisms, reverence for the ancient name for Jesus, and an ultimate discovery by Merlin, not of a new spell, but of the true creator God. Following his remarkable journey, we start with an infant marked by striking golden eyes. As he grows into adulthood, those eyes remain, but now they bear the heavy weight of prophetic visions. This intense burden actually leads directly to a spiritual awakening, a profound encounter with Christ, which ultimately arms him to unite kings and defend Britain. Martindale brilliantly captures this weight with a poignant verse. As baby Merlin took the stage and stared through golden eyes, his vision saw each future age and took him by surprise. Just imagine being a child and suddenly having the curtain of time pulled back, seeing every future age unfold. It catches young Merlin completely off guard, setting the stage for a character who is deeply burdened yet profoundly guided. That brings us to Section 3, the gospel and the gods, a spiritual clash in Britain. The narrative sets up a massive juxtaposition here. On one side, you have the entrenched, resistant pagan traditions, the spiritual stronghold of the old gods, and on the other, a brand new wave of Christian evangelism and the wisdom Christ supplied. It's not just a physical battle for land, you guys. It is a profound clash of worldviews. This stanza powerfully captures the tension of that era. Yet old gods fought against the tide, despising change and loss, as wise men chose Christ crucified and wore signs of his cross. The old world was fiercely despising change, fighting against the tide of history. Meanwhile, wise men were making a definitive choice, embracing the Creator. It paints such a vivid picture of a society right in the midst of a massive, seismic cultural shift. Now, it is absolutely fascinating to see Merlin portrayed here. He isn't just your standard wizard waving a wand. Listen to this. To imitate the works of Paul, the saint who wrote and wrote, proved worthy of each miracle, so each lost soul took note. The poem actually describes him as an obedient servant, striving to imitate the Apostle Paul. It completely reframes Merlin's magic as divine miracles meant to point lost souls toward eternal life. Let's look at how that plays out in Section 4, the path to the king, striving with wayward monarchs. Merlin had to navigate a highly volatile political landscape, encountering kings of every conceivable temperament. Some were wise, governing God's gifts well, but others were foolish, leading Britain astray with false hopes. Some were brave, but incredibly flawed, or just downright difficult to unite. He was tirelessly searching through all these mortal men to find the one true ruler. The poet asks us a really profound question here. A man prone to a far-off look, at kingdoms near and far, who knows the toll that his soul took to see kings as they are? Consider the immense psychological toll it took on his soul to clearly see the flaws of these men. With his prophetic visions, he couldn't be fooled by fancy crowns. He saw kings exactly as they were, human, broken,
often standing in the way of Britain's peace. That far-off look is the heavy gaze of a true kingmaker. Fortunately, he wasn't carrying this burden entirely alone. The poem makes sure to highlight that the transformative love of the Lady of the Lake changed him, and alongside her, the fierce loyalty of true friends supported his destiny, giving him the strength to do what he must do. Because let's face it, even a prophet with golden eyes needs a community to help fulfill a divine calling.
And finally, we arrive at section 5, a golden age, the kingmaker's legacy. He trusted Christ, the Prince of Peace, and then proclaimed his name. Once each false hope was then ignored that led Britain astray. By rejecting those empty promises of the past, the ones that had led Britain astray for so long, and trusting the Prince of Peace, Merlin found the true way forward for the nation. This was the turning point where the visions of his youth finally aligned with reality. And here is the spectacular climax of the poem. Thus Merlin brought one noble king to Britain's center stage, the High King to rule everything, and thus a golden age. Operating as the ultimate gospel kingmaker, Merlin's lifelong visions materialized into a time of true peace. This wasn't just political manipulation, it was a divine orchestration. He crowned the High King and ushered in the legendary Golden Age. As we wrap up this explainer on Denis Martindale's incredibly powerful poem, I want to leave you with a final question to ponder. How does replacing ancient magic with a profound gospel faith entirely redefine a legendary hero for you? It's a massive shift, right? One that turns a familiar myth into a sweeping saga of spiritual redemption. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep seeking out the deeper meanings in the stories we tell.